Average at Best Cornhole. This video, we got some Titan bags. So we got the brand new Dart, which is a very small, puffy bag, right?
Yeah.
Kind of reminds me of Cornhole Fear, right? Cornhole Coastal Fear. Yeah. And then the Devastator, which is like the opposite because it's thin and large, has dandruff, and kind of packs real tight like cement mix or something.
Yeah. So we'll tell you about these bags here quite a bit, and just a couple things from me real quick. I love the name of the Dart because they're so small. I feel like I'm throwing darts, man. Like it really does. It's such a unique bag.
I can't say that I didn't hear that yet.
Right? Yeah, I've said it a few times. So.
Yeah, designs on these bags, they're kind of cool. I mean, because they do, they have their beasts on there, right? So they give them a name and then they give them a beast. What I do like is that they put their speeds on there, which is super nice. And a lot of people ask, a lot of people that aren't familiar with, all the bags.
Right.
Oh, what's the speeds on there? And then you forget, well, you just show them because it's right on there, which is neat. So thank you for that, Titan.
Yeah, we like that a lot. We've seen it just one or two other times, so hopefully it catches on. We keep doing it. Our cost for the scoring on these, and another little complicated one for us, kind of. A little bit price difference between the two. I think we were 80 on the Devastators and, at that magic 100 number for the darts. But we got some cool, kind of a unique shipping that we got from it, right?
They do. They come in their own special box, which is neat. They threw in a carry bag, a decal, and everything. But shipping was also extra, and I thought that was a little pricey. So I don't know. You got to weigh. This one was a very complicated one.
I think we were probably going to go about in that 1.5 mark, but I think because of the unique packaging and the few extra freebies through in there, we're going to give them at least a 2 on that
bagger, one. Yep. So a little company information on them. They are a branch of West Georgia Cornhole, which has been around a long time making boards. They do have their own website, which is just www.titancornholebags.com. The Facebook group is at Titan Cornhole. And then they have a fan page, which is just at Titan fan page.
All right, so just a little bit on the break-in, and Craig, go ahead and tell us about it. From my understanding,
they say they come broke in, right? So it actually gives you a whole card explaining it. The Devastators, they needed more, though.
Yeah, definitely. Getting into the speeds, probably don't even need to say it because it's right here in front of the camera, but we got 8.5 rated from the company on the darts and an 8.6, kind of a unique number setting there on the Devastators.
Yeah, I thought that was a little odd, a 6 and an 8. Normally a 6 slow side bag is going to have like a 9 or 10 or something, but they said 8. And on the ramp, I mean, that was comparable to 2 8s. So
okay, yeah, and it's a different, it's a different material.
It is definitely a different material, yeah.
How I felt, I think the darts were a little bit faster than a 5, though, right?
Well, that material and that smaller template definitely a little bit faster than a 5, maybe 5.5, pushing a 6 possibly.
Yeah. And the Devastator is definitely a 6, 6.5. They move pretty good on the slow side for sure.
So just a quick touch on the materials, because a lot of people, I saw questions. The darts, they do have that Guardian hybrid material, not the Viper R.
All right, so templates, like I said before, these are super small. They're like throwing darts. So I love saying that. He's sick of hearing it, but I'm going to continue to do it. So, and then we definitely got the larger, thinner feel on the Devastators. Probably a medium large template, right?
I would say large at all. Yeah, I mean they're 6x6 all day, so it is a large bag. So fill and flop on these bags. The darts, they're not going to be that floppy. They are full bag, and I think they have mostly all flat fill. It might be a mixture of some small flat and some big, but I really didn't feel any round beads in it at all. And then the Devastator.
So we've been having some fun with this. They got a little. It's a mixed fill, right? With some roll type beads in there.
No, it's just all flat fill, but
it not feel flat to me.
It needs some head and shoulders.
Yeah. So something weird about these bags. We haven't been able to figure it out. I don't know if it's the beads breaking down inside or what. But as you pick them up, I got a little pad here.
Weighing them did not show any differences. I mean, this stuff's been coming out too.
Yeah, and it's been doing it the whole time. And at first we didn't even know what was going on, but I don't know how well you could see that on camera. But there's just a white, powdery substance that is just continually coming out of this bag. So our joke is, it's dandruff. If you get these bags, break them in with Head and Shoulders, you might not have the problem. Let us know if that works out. But
please do, yeah.
But Titan, if you guys are listening and you know what that is, comment for us and tell us what's going on.
I'm hoping someone, because I was searching the internet and I saw people talking about it, but no one knew what it was.
So maybe there's a liner inside that's degrading. The edge of the beads, how they were formed.
I can't imagine. I don't know. Plastic resin doesn't.
Yeah, I mean it's so fine, and it's almost like ashes from a cigar or something is what it feels like and stuff. But unique. We just haven't seen any bag do something like that.
Since we were throwing corn bags.
Right. So yeah, right. I made that joke too. I was like, maybe there's corn in there and just break it down. So who knows what's going on? If you guys solve the mystery, please let us know because we've been having some fun trying to figure it out. So. And
the Bagmanship, we're just not that impressed. I think we got spoiled by all these smaller companies because there is some stuff going on. I mean, you got frayed strings there.
Yep.
You got seams that don't line up at all.
Yep.
You know, that closing seam. The pools, you got pools like crazy, but I don't think you can blame it on Bagmanship.
No,
I don't know what
material.
That was,
we see that a lot with some of the fast side materials. You know, they're a little more susceptible to getting the pools and being damaged when you're throwing on stones and stuff like we do sometimes. So
I'm still going to blame the Bagmanship.
Yeah, I mean, we got to go somewhere with it. But yeah, the seams. I mean, you can almost feel like I'm sure you guys can see that, and none of them are the same. So I don't know what's going on. We get a bad batch or what, but. I mean, that's almost noticeable if you hold from the seam side like I do. I can feel it on the palms of my hand, that difference. And I noticed that almost right away. So, take it how you want, but that's just kind of what we experienced. It wasn't up to what we were expecting from them. Let's talk about forgiveness, right? Getting our slide up here. And, I'll talk about the Devastators a little bit. Pretty forgiving, right? The kids were enjoying throwing those bags. My son, who's still working on throwing a decent bag and stuff. He actually liked those quite a bit and was doing pretty well with them. I think they're very, forgivable and everything. The one thing that I would say is they can be a little quick. So if you're not hitting your spot, you're off the board.
Yeah. And then the dart, I mean, I seriously thought for sure, once I held that bag, I'm like, oh man, this thing's going to kick all over the place. But it didn't. So it must be that flat fill in there.
Yeah.
It really helped it out. Or something about the smaller bag, maybe you can hit your target a little bit easier or something.
Yeah. It's, I didn't have any trouble with, thinking about the forgiveness of the bag and stuff like that. I think it's that smaller feel. Like I said, you get such a good feel. You really know what you're doing with the bag. And even with that smaller template and a little bit thicker fill, I wasn't getting crazy kicks. I mean, I've had bags that I thought would be more forgiving that were actually less forgiving than these darts. So pretty cool.
So whole bodiness on these, and we're going to give the Devastator just, a slight edge on that. But then the darts, I mean, they're so small and puffy. I mean, that makes that hole look huge. So they also do drip in there pretty well.
Yeah, they actually did. For the size of them and stuff, you didn't have to get them as close as you'd think. And, there's plenty of times where they were just hanging there and then just another bag hitting the board and they found their way in. So those beads do move in there a little bit, even if it's mostly flat.
Well, and then you think, normally like a puffy bag like that's going to plug too. But I think since these are smaller, there's less of a chance of it plugging the hole also.
Yeah, and also great for airmails because, they're smaller, so you don't have to worry about hitting that. You got less to fit. It makes the hole
not so
feel
good
bigger.
where the airmail drags, though,
right? Yeah, I would agree. But, I mean, the hole just seems bigger when you're playing them bags, right? So that can be a good thing for a lot of people. And the Devastators, they were, they dripped in pretty well.
Yeah.
I didn't see, anything to say that these bags don't have great whole bodiness, man. They like to go in there. Collectability on these bags, the darts, that might be the drawback of that small size, right? Yeah. You really got to hit your spot. If you're trying to push a bag, you have almost no margin of error. They're going to, if you just catch an edge, it's going to roll right away. There's just not enough bag for the one you're trying to hit and the one that you're throwing. They'll collect if you nail it. They'll collect, but less margin for error for sure.
Yeah, the Devastators, they were collecting pretty well, I thought, even for, a fast, floppy bag like that. Normally they bunch up and you don't do much, but we had some success with it.
I think because of that faster side, if they were sitting on that, that slow side, which is a fast side to us, almost.
Barely nudge it.
It moved, which, did pretty good.
I think the only thing we need to touch on the speed consistency is that the Devastator is going to slow down in humid conditions. Other than that, I mean, there's really not a lot to talk about.
Right. I agree. The capable shots of these bags, I'll just talk about the Devastator. It's a hole runner. I mean, that's what you're doing with this bag. You're not putting blockers up with this bag. I mean, it can cut, I guess, but it's going to be difficult. It's difficult, right? So, I mean, that's what that's for. You're running holes with that bag, so you're not trying to do much more than that. Yeah,
and the dart, I honestly don't know. So I don't know what their intent was with this bag because it is small and full. Cutting, Adam Isner's tearing it up right now with this bag because he has a cut shot. He has one of the best cut shots ever in a small bag like that. You're going to be able to cut around it. Yeah. Are there people rolling it and all that? Probably, but most people are buying this bag, especially with that flat fill, just to literally run holes with it.
Right. Yeah, you're not picking this up to try and roll it. I mean, it's got the airmail shot, like I said, as long as you're not trying not to drag. Yeah. It's a great bag for that. I mean, I sat out there one day and I was just playing around with airmails with that bag, because it was fun. It was different than trying to airmail with a lot of other bags. But yeah, I mean, they're both really kind of hole runners, right?
That's what I think so, yeah.
What's our final thoughts on these so far, Craig?
I don't know. So I don't know if I personally want to score them, and there's a couple of reasons why. I wasn't a huge fan of the darts, but there were so many people that were at the campground. Like, people loved that bag. Yeah. And the Devastators, I threw extremely well. It's just that powdery substance that comes out of it. Yeah. Like, I can't recommend this bag to someone, and they take them to a tournament or something, and they're getting dust all over the board. Imagine how upset the person you're standing there throwing against is going to get. Yeah. So. But I don't want to knock the bag. If it figured out that fill, I think it'd be a great bag.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. Kind of the opposite for me. When we first started throwing the darts, I was like, these are amazing. I love these bags. And I played them, a week or two later in a different setting and stuff, and I was kind of struggling with them. I was like, give me something different, and I still like the bag. I like the idea of that small template. I think that, we might see more of that and some improvements on how those bags work. But and the Devastators, kind of the opposite again. When I first picked them up, they felt real weird. Like the way the beads rolled together and stuff. And like I said,
it's like ready mix. Or something. It is a very odd bag.
But when I first picked it up, I was like, what is this? And that has to be related to the dandruff that we're getting and stuff. But as I played them more and stuff, I was like, I'm throwing pretty well with them.
I threw them really well.
You threw them really well. You were saying, you're like, I hate these bags. And then you were like 4-bagging like crazy. And I'm like, are you sure? And you're like, no. We like them, but, there's some things that we think need improvement on both ends.
So we're going to pass on scoring them.
All right, so are these bags worth the cost?
It's kind of a yes and a no, right? If the Devastator if they figured out that fill, or maybe they don't know about it, or maybe they already did figure it out, maybe I got a bad batch, I don't know. That would 100% be worth the cost.
Yeah, I would agree. And we even know somebody that's just recently picked up a set of those. So, and he had played with those, and he kind of knew what he was getting into. And I think that's kind of the answer there is if you've played these bags and you know what they are and they're what you're looking for, then yeah, they're going to be worth the cost.
Right.
If you're out there, buying sets of bags, trying to figure out what's right for you, to just have some variation, maybe think twice about this and you get your hands on them first and really make sure.
Try them out, yeah.
But if that's, there, then yeah, they're going to be worth the cost. So that's going to be, unique to you. Your mileage is going to vary on it if they're worth the cost that they're asking for them.
Then the darts, I'm telling you, by how many people that like those bags, they probably are worth that cost just because they're different and smaller and fuller. But they weren't worth that cost to me.
And outside of that, if you're going to be average at something, be average at cornhole.